Welcome to Rich Planet TV. I'm Richard D. Hall. Do you recall that I have been asking the public to find first-hand witnesses of the Manchester Arena atrocity so I can speak to them? Do you also recall me recently saying this? Rich Planet does not take its lead from mainstream reporting. In fact, I could give you a list as long as my arm of the things that have appeared in mainstream media that I believe were put there as a direct result of the exposés that have been highlighted by Rich Planet. Now, this article is an example of the kind of thing I was talking about. Beware of social media during terror events, NHS guidelines warn. NHS staff and terror attack victims and their families have been warned about the risks of using social media in new guidelines issued by NHS England. The guide cautions that internet trolls may subject victims to vile and upsetting abuse, as was seen after the Manchester and London terror attacks. It also warns people to be wary of journalists seeking accounts of events. The process of retelling a story can make people relive the worst parts of horrific events, it warns. People may say more than they intend to when vulnerable, upset or angry, it adds. The NHS England guide also issues specific advice to younger people, cautioning people will use your information for their own ends, and when you're in the heat of the moment, you may say more than you intend to or later regret. The guide warns NHS staff against accidentally revealing something about the incident which is not already in the public domain. It says, often in terror incidents, the receiving hospitals are not named in the media straight away, so don't post that you've had a busy shift dealing with victims, as this will confirm something which isn't already known. Dear oh dear, what are they really worried about? It seems to me they are worried about the truth. Do you think these measures are about being altruistic and protecting victims? Bullshit. They are worried about independent people investigating these events because the mainstream media, who are censored by the intelligence agencies, never report accurately what happened. Staying on the theme of terrorism, I recently covered the Westminster Bridge attack, and you may remember that somebody placed a piece of plywood against the railings in front of the perpetrator's car. Here is an image of the car immediately after the crash. We see no piece of plywood. And here, a little later, we see the plywood in place. So who put it there? Nick Colostrom suggested this might have been deliberately put there to hide something, perhaps an undamaged railing. Now, I was recently contacted by a Rich Planet viewer who sent me some camera phone video footage of the person with the plywood. Here it is. Did you catch that? Here it is again, zoomed in and slowed down. It appears that the person who put the plywood in front of the vehicle is wearing a mask. An anonymous mask or a Guy Fawkes mask. What the hell is that about? Now then, just put yourself in the shoes of someone on that bridge. You've just seen a car mow down a whole load of people and then crash into the railings. A terrorist gets out with knives and runs off down the street. There are bodies all over the place. Some of them are dead. So what are you going to do? Are you going to help some of the victims? Are you going to warn people walking past that there's been a terrorist attack? No, of course not. You're going to find a piece of plywood. That's what you're going to do. You're going to find a piece of plywood, right? And then what you're going to do, you're going to get your anonymous mask, right? What on earth was this person doing? Was he part of the operation? Answers on a postcard to Rich Planet TV, P.O. Box, Bob Lazar. Now then, Stephen Hawking has been in the news again, Hooray! The 75-year-old Stephen Hawking. That's Stephen Hawking, who in 1963 was given 2 years to live. So he's only exceeded this prognosis by 52 years. If you want more on what I'm talking about, please follow this link. I suspect that Hawking died over 10 years ago and an impersonator is currently filling his wheelchair. I would guess that if he did die, it was somewhere between 1995 and 2006, but I'm open to debate on that part of it. Now, this is what Hawking recently said for an upcoming TV show. Should I say, this is what the person pretending to be Stephen Hawking said. Or maybe I should just say, this is what the person who programmed Stephen Hawking's voice box said. Now, I've got my own voice box here for added realism. Note here, I am not impersonating Stephen Hawking's. Therefore, I am not ridiculing him. I am impersonating an electronic box that you have no proof is being operated by the mind of the real Stephen Hawking. So don't come at me with that political correctness bullshit. This is what he said. I am convinced that humans need to leave Earth and make a new home on another planet. For humans to survive, I believe we must have the preparations in place within 100 years. It could be an asteroid hitting the Earth. It could be a new virus, climate change, nuclear war, or artificial intelligence gone rogue. That's what he said. Now, these are not the words of a scientist. I think everyone can agree on that. These are the words of a fearmonger. A fearmonger who isn't presenting any evidence of his ridiculous claims. The sooner this charlatan, whoever it is universally exposed, the better. If we do move to another planet, please, can Stephen Hawking be put first in the queue? I'll be happy to ignite the rocket and eject him, or whoever is impersonating him, into orbit around the sun.